What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel, where today I'm going to be showing you how to update your motherboard's BIOS. Now, if you're already aware of the reasons why you should or shouldn't update your BIOS and you're just here for the information, go ahead and skip to this point in the video and we'll get right to that. But for those who aren't aware, let's talk about that for a little bit. Before we talk about that, the system that I'm going to be using today is going to be one of the last ready-to-go pre-builts that we're really going to do before we're adding a part selector to our website. Now, we realized by going only with email customs or already ready to ship systems, we've kind of alienated people who actually want to go on there and have a little bit of selection, but don't necessarily want to talk to a human. So for those of you that want that, don't worry, it's coming. And for any of you interested in this system right here, go ahead and pause the video and I'll flash the price and specs right up here. And for those wondering why the heck do I have such high-speed RAM with a 5060 and 7600X, isn't it a little outclassed? Well, I don't know if you've seen the RAM market lately, but it's a little odd right now. Now, for reasons why you shouldn't update your motherboard's BIOS. Number one, do you live in a country with very unstable power? If you do, probably not a good idea if you're already happy with the performance that you're getting. Now, if there's some important security updates through that BIOS, which you see on your manufacturer's page, then it's probably a good idea to go ahead and do it, but it's still a risk if you're prone to losing power at any time. Because if your power goes out while your BIOS is updating, then you've just effectively bricked your motherboard. Now, sometimes you can get lucky and recover it with a CMOS clear, but it's not always going to work, so it is a risk. Aside from power loss, I can't really say I've seen any other big risks posed with updating your BIOS, at least none that have happened to me after building hundreds and hundreds of systems. But like I always say, I am not the end-all be-all expert, so for all I know, there are more risks involved. But let's talk about reasons why you should update your mother's BIOS, and I touched on it a little bit earlier. Security updates often come in the form of BIOS updates from the motherboard manufacturers. A way to tell if you've had security updates, if you're not a person who follows a lot of tech news, you should be able to just go down the BIOS versions on the manufacturer's page and it will actually have notes as to what this BIOS update is for. So if you have stable power and you notice a security update, yes, you should update it immediately. Another major reason to update your BIOS is because sometimes, like in the case of 13th and 14th gen Intel, it can literally save your CPU's life. So if you're watching this video and you have a 13th gen or 14th gen Intel and your BIOS is before, say, September 2024, you should probably go ahead and update it right now. Another great reason would be performance enhancements, like we saw recently with the Ryzen 9000 series getting BIOS updates and performance enhancements through that. And although it's not really a feature I would recommend most people use, you will get feature updates such as the X3D Turbo mode in BIOS updates. But the general rule that most people will tell you, as long as you're happy with your system's performance and it's nice and stable, and there's really nothing security-wise that you need to worry about, you should probably just let it be. But after all that, you still want to go ahead and do it? Let's go ahead and see how it's done. So the first thing that we need to do, if you don't already know, is figure out which model motherboard you have. And if you're building yourself, then just look at the box. But if you don't know what it is, we could just go down here and search for system information, bring that up, and it'll tell us right here, baseboard product. You can see here the B650E Max Gaming Wi-Fi. And if you have a pre-built, it's also important to know that depending on who you bought this from, you may or may not be able to update your BIOS at all. If you bought from somebody like Alienware, then the motherboard itself is probably a pseudo-proprietary board, and you might not be able to update it. But even OEMs like Origin sometimes use proprietary BIOS, even though the motherboard is open standard. And if they have one of those on there, it should more than likely tell you when you go to update it that you cannot. But anyways, now that you know what your model is, we need to get the actual BIOS update file onto a flash drive. Now obviously if you don't have Windows installed on your computer yet, then you're going to have to do it on another computer that does have access to the internet, but either way the process is the same. So the easiest way to find it is just going to be to type your motherboard model into Google with the word BIOS. And as you can see, the very top result is the Asus manufacturer page that we want to go to for this board. If you come to this page and it's not already on the BIOS for you, as you can see, select driver and tools, and then come down here and hit BIOS firmware. And this is where, if you're wondering if you should update your BIOS, as you can see, all of them have notes under it that tell you what exactly this update is for. But obviously, the most recent one is going to have all that too, so we'll just go ahead and click download on the most recent one. Now as you can see, the file is a zip file, so we're going to need to extract this, and obviously since we have to put it onto a flash drive, it's going to be easiest if we just go ahead and extract this onto our flash drive. So we'll click our flash drive, select folder, hit extract. And now normally you would be done with this part, but Asus motherboards have a little thing that you have to do before the file is actually readable through the motherboard. We have to use this little thing here called the BIOS renamer. So just go ahead and open it up and literally do what it says and hit any button, and as you can see, the file name is now changed. So now our flash drive and our BIOS update is all good to go, and we can go ahead and actually update our BIOS. So now that we got our BIOS update on our flash drive, we need to power down the system and then go ahead and plug our USB drive into the specific port that says BIOS. Every board does have one slot that's meant for BIOS updates, but not every single board out there, believe it or not, has it labeled. So if yours doesn't, just check the manual or look online. If yours is not a new system, obviously you're not going to get this message. As you can see, it says new CPU installed. So for you to get into the BIOS, just mash the delete key, which is universal on pretty much every motherboard, and you'll end up in the BIOS. Now again, this is a brand new system, so I haven't made any changes in here yet, but if yours isn't new and there's lots of settings changes, as soon as you update the BIOS version, they're all going to go back to the defaults. And while there's no way to save the settings while switching in between BIOS versions, there is a quick way that you can see all the changes that were made. And obviously not every motherboard manufacturer's layout is going to look the same in the BIOS, but this trick works for pretty much everything. So what you can do, if we go to advanced mode, exit, load optimized defaults, and hit yes, it'll restore everything back to the default, but it hasn't actually saved that yet. So now if we hit save changes and reset, it'll then bring up a whole list of the changes that were made to go back to the defaults. So obviously you can tell that the setting on the left that was there before is the way you had it. So take a screenshot of that, and once you've updated the BIOS, now you know exactly which settings you had switched on before. Now as far as actually updating the BIOS, some manufacturers will have the utility right here on the easy screen, however Asus boards do not. But the language that we're going to be looking for is pretty much universal. It's always going to say flash utility. So for Asus, if we go down here to advanced mode, click on tool, you'll see the top is the Asus Easy Flash 3 utility. Go ahead and click that, and then here you can see our B650E Max Gaming Wi-Fi BIOS. Select it, hit yes, and note, once you hit this button, do not panic. The screen is going to lock up for a second. That's what it's supposed to do, so don't freak out. And another word of note to not panic, after you hit this, your system is going to shut down and restart itself. That is normal as well. And once you're here, you're home free. All you gotta do now is just hope that your power doesn't go out and you should be just fine. But once it's complete, it's gonna restart itself again. So again, don't panic because that is entirely normal and a good thing. And obviously once it comes back up, keep mashing the delete key to go back into your BIOS, and you should hopefully have saved that screenshot with all your settings that you can now put back. And that's it. You're done. Just make sure you actually hit the save the changes this time before you leave. Other than that, game on, be easy. We'll see you guys next time.